Good morning, everybody. I got to tell you, every week it seems like I go through this loop after loop after loop. It takes me like forever to get in. And I have to tell you, I'm going through my own personal Mercury funkiness because my natal Mercury is being opposed by Uranus in Scorpio and Taurus on that axis. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. And for those of you that are watching the playback, I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And each week we meet on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time, to go through the transits and to get advice from God and the angels on how to traverse these transits. So, what a pivotal week we have. And before I go into this week's readings, I'm going to tell you I did a separate video on the Mercury retrograde and on the eclipse. So if you guys haven't had a chance to see that, I got the timestamps in. And in that video, we have, I'm go through each one of the houses and how it will affect you based on your rising sign. So what we're just going to kind of do is recap that a little bit today and talk about how to take advantage of some of the things going on as Jupiter is in its last degrees of Pisces, about to enter Aries. I think this is going to be adding to the mix of the already, I want to say, pivotal energy. Things really changing this. And I want to offer it this way because I don't want to put it into a week, but yes. Just call me C. It should not be so soul sucking. When we hit an eclipse, especially a lunar eclipse, we're talking about the culmination of a cycle. We're talking about a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So that in and of itself can be feeling slightly ever so draining because we also have the South Node there. But I want to offer it this because there's a certain surrender that this aspect is asking of us. And the surrender is not to the sucking part as much as it's about, am I standing in an energy that I need to pivot from, that hasn't been working for me? And somehow I've been expecting the outside to change so that I could change. So, I've talked to a lot of people, and one of my friends back east found out some bad news, and it is bringing, there's a lot of stuff being brought up right now, but I don't want you guys to focus in on the bad part as much as there's an opportunity to allow this illumination to recalibrate our focus, because this is what I want to say. When I was getting ready, I was thinking about how Venus has moved into Aries. She's going to be there a little while, and Jupiter is going to move into Aries soon. It's hovering around the 29th degree, I believe. And this is sort of this last degree of Pisces that gives us an opportunity to really look at, are we playing to our dreams? The 12th house by nature, and Pisces rules the 12th house, is our ancestral house. It's a house where the human experience is coming to a culmination, and we're going back to our natural energies as souls. So there's an opportunity to sit in that reflection and review our intentions, not so much about, what we have tripped up or the mistakes we've made or the regret we have, as much as how can that energy serve us to move forward with more intention, more focus, more awareness of our co-creation. Okay, so I'm looking at Jules K. I keep telling myself think of it like the Tower card, Pluto being ripped away to make space for something better. Okay, so let me offer this because I think the Tower card is very Uranian. I kind of look at the Judgment card as Pluto. The Tower card has the energy of those characters being thrown off of their crown. It's lightning. There's this feeling, there's fire. So it's very much, feels to me as if there has been an energy with the Tower card where we're sitting on a false sense of security, and that lightning strike brings an awareness. So I want to offer it this way because this is what Scorpio is all about, digging deep. And if you look back to last November when we had the new moon in Scorpio, this was starting to set a tone for what illuminations were becoming aware to light at this lunar eclipse. And I want to personally, I feel like I agree. I've gone through some challenging quote unquote things, but when I've been willing to dig deeper, most of the common theme of the situations is where I've been holding myself small and been thinking that I needed something outside of myself to facilitate what I want to come through myself. So that's what I think if we each look at our individual lives and our individual intentions, that's what I think we have an opportunity to start to facilitate and move forward. As Mercury goes retrograde, this time of it's stationing right now. It's very powerful. And this particular Mercury retrograde, very much to me, and again, I address this in a lot of detail in the other video that's focused on this. It's on the channel. But as it traverses through, backwards through Gemini into Taurus, it's going to give us an opportunity to go from mutable thought into where am I being fixed, Taurus, and how can I be more flexible so that I can start to really anchor in and live what I want versus this constant stretch for it. Because I have to say, one of the most challenging things about wanting something and working towards it and striving for it is when it finally starts to show up. That's when the real rubber meets the road. That's when the real fear gets stoked. That's when the real vulnerability does. And we start to get scared because as we smell that coming towards us, there is an uncomfortable feeling about being happy. The human is not trained to be happy. It's not trained to receive bounty. It's trained to work hard, to push hard, I accomplished something this week. Sorry, I interrupted myself. And I noticed I've been working towards this goal for over, probably 3 years. And as I reached the goal, my ability to take in that goal lasted for like 2 seconds before I was on to whatever the next thing was that I hadn't accomplished. And this is where I think I tripped myself up. And this is where I think this Scorpio eclipse has the ability to say, how am I co-creating? How can I dig deep and be more brave each and every time to look at where I am giving up my power? That's what Scorpio is. It's about power. So, all right. So we're going to go into our signs. I have pre-pulled the tarot cards for each sign. I haven't looked at them. But again, I want to sort of just say a little bit about the kind of the key words for this week is to kind of look at your soul habits, your default thought. I don't win. Relationships always blow up for me. I'm never acknowledged in my work environment. All these places where you hold yourself small. And if indeed on some level, holding yourself small has served you up until now. And I say it in a weird way because sometimes we're not ready. And it's through this sort of, because I think, okay, I'm freaking all over the map. Again, I have my own personal Mercury retrograde going on with Uranus opposing my natal Mercury. But with Venus coming into, or Venus being in Aries and Jupiter about to enter Aries till November, I think all the sleepy dream time they did together with Neptune this last little few weeks is about starting to implement those passions. It's about I know we're in a Mercury retrograde, but really starting to review about what those passions are, and not in a negative, judgy way, but a habitual habit that I may personally have that has been holding me back from where I want to go. Okay, so let's just see. Jules, I want to say this, the human by nature it tends to like do that whole bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. And so even though we'll be in slightly imbalanced situations or extremely imbalanced situations, we will grab onto it and we will continue to push, and we'll push like, if this would just change, I will feel better. And this is where I think the deep illuminations of Pluto really offer us pearls of wisdom, bounty, and really anchoring in our strength and our own personal power. I really don't think of Pluto as a malefic. You know, a lot of people want to make it like Pluto is doing something to you, or any of the planets for that matter. They're not. Your soul chose a time period in history to incarnate so that you could walk through these energies and make choices. And those choices give you an opportunity to feel power. You know, I've said it over and over again that as we walk through fear, we literally feel a sense of accomplishment. There's nothing more exciting and more titillating and more empowering and the biggest tail wag. I mean, I could go on and on when we literally walk through something that we didn't think we could do, or something that we've anticipated being a challenge, and we become more, people applaud us for it. People embrace us for it, for our differences. Oh, look, my boy showed up. He was asleep. I was going to pick him up and have him say good morning to y'all for Mother's Day, but he was like, leave me be. Good morning, Welsh. Good morning, Shelley. Did I say hi to Lucy Rose, Katarina, Heather, Sacred Owl? Okay, I want to say hi to everybody, but I'm sorry. You know what, that loop I get into, I get a little confused. Good morning, Juan and Small. Heather, I want to say this. You know, I want to offer this. In my family, I've had to separate myself, and I've had a lot of reflection lately about talking about the law of attraction and then the law of allowing. And what I want to do is I want to allow myself to be all I can be, and I want to allow all those things in. And the little underbelly of that is that everybody else gets that same privilege, whether I agree with it or not. So while I consider some of my family members challenging, and I want to use the word toxic, I have to agree with you. For me, they're like kryptonite to Superman. I get around them and all my power just seizes and I fall, you know, like a jellyfish on the ground. But as I've separated myself from them, I don't want to villainize them anymore, because I'm harboring an energy that doesn't actually serve me. And these are the deeper and deeper levels of Pluto that allow you the privilege of that transformation. And that privilege isn't easy. You know, it's hard won. It is fought for in the sense of, when we dig deep in our co-creation, the main part of it is not judging ourselves for it. It's not expecting something that is unfair to the hero's journey. So dig deeper there, because if you are holding that adjective toxic in a way that I have to push you away, then you're not really serving the purpose. You're inadvertently still focused on that. I watched Nova last night, and it was something I had taped a long time ago about the evolution of butterflies and how important they are. And I tend to focus in on the idea that the caterpillar really has the butterfly has two phases, the caterpillar and then the butterfly, but there's really four phases. And the chrysalis, if I'm saying that right, but when the butterfly is in that cocoon and it's starting to transform and then having to push its way out, there's a very strong energy of vulnerability to all sorts of elements, from rain to predators, etc. So if we are willing to look in our lives that some of this is going to feel a little bit hard, and am I focused in on protecting myself from the predator, or am I believing that this transformation is giving me wings to fly? That's where the real shift comes in. That's where the power comes in, and then the laws of attraction really kick in a powerful way. I was talking to my friend back east, and I was telling him that my observation of happy people is not that they don't have challenges. It's more or less that they've got a vibration going. And in that vibration of not judging themselves, looking at their artwork and finding the good things in it, looking at what they enjoy and finding the good things in it, it tends to draw the laws of attraction in that then support that feeling. And then they start to allow, without even realizing it, not only their own blossoming, but other people's blossoming. And then the beautiful thing is, rather than bringing in all these contrary energies that tend to make us want to go to the darker side or the more challenging energies, we bring in people that are in alignment with us. So the differences are not so wide that we feel a sense of push-pull with them. So that's where I'm going with that. I think it's going to be a super pivotal week. Again, being willing, when we look at the idea that we started off with a Taurus solar eclipse, that's my skills, that's my history, that's my personal self-worth. Then we're going to culminate this with a full moon in Scorpio. We have one more moon this month at the end, and we'll talk about that later. But this is a big access of my skills, my power versus what I give away to others, and the cooperation between the two, because one is not bad and one is not good. It is the ebb and the flow, the seesaw of the two things. Okay. Welcome, Giselle. Good to see you in the chat. Okay. Hi, 145 Club. I said hi to Welsh. I'm going to call you Welsh, even though you put Sweetgrass first this time. I'm used to calling you that. Did I say hi, Lucy Rose? Okay. Let's go to start with our readings now. And as usual on Sunday morning, I always start with Pisces. It's just the way I roll. So we're going to go. Here we go. On the other videos, if you note, I start with Aries. And I'm trying to get those timestamps in. Every time I do a video, I miss one and Small Wildflowers so much because they provide such a beautiful service that I always remember. So you guys, every time, no offense to anyone else, but Small and One, every time you see me post a video, know that I've been thinking of you and sending you blessings for what you do for me and for the tribe on Sunday morning. Okay, Pisces, let's see how this pivotal week, what is the tarot card that's going to be here for you? The sun. This is a beautiful energy. Okay, so we know the sun represents Leo. And in the tarot deck, the sun, there's nothing negative about the sun. The sun is shining. The sun is vulnerable. The boy, S-O-N, is vulnerable on that white horse because there's a certain amount of trust and joy that he is displaying. And on some level, this is sort of, to me, if indeed any of you are Pisces and you've been experiencing some disruption, now is a time to be a little bit more vulnerable to your true happiness, to what will truly make the sun shine in your life and make you feel like the flowers are growing. I really think that what was when we saw Neptune and Jupiter together in Pisces, and we know that only happens like once every 166 years, it was an opportunity to dig deep in our beliefs about ourselves. Again, this is never about judgment. It's about a piece of information that illuminates a speed bump or a roadblock that we inadvertently have as a habit that we have been given of thinking. And I say given because the soul chooses dynamics in this lifetime to break those old habits. So it will come into a dynamic that will support the South Node or Chiron, so that we can stretch for the North Node. So Pisces, I think this is an important time to start to focus in on the sun shining in your life. I think this is an important time to allow your passion, if we think about the sun ruling Leo, and this is what this card also represents, it's about your personal pleasure. And that's, again, where I kind of go back to the idea of the laws of allowing, because when I'm giving myself permission to express myself in a joyous way, then I kind of look at your life and I go, you know what, go ahead. knock yourself out, have a great time. And then on top of that, there's a bonus, because my law of attraction is now drawing in more alignment for me. So I'm not rubbing up against this polarizing experience of somebody being completely or thinking different than I. All right, let's do our reading now. Here we go. Pisces. That was the reading too, but I don't know what I'm saying. Uranus is going to float over my everything. I feel like I'm so honestly glad I did not know astrology when I was younger, because I really think I would have been traumatized. My chart, the transits for my life have been so transformational. Look, he's gone into his little bed. Can you see him sleeping in his bed? All right, here we go. One of the cards flew out, so I'm for some reason I'm being called to pull them face down, and then we'll put them together and take a look at them. Always check your rising sign. The moon to me is the most important energy. I'm sorry, humans are, this is the thing. The moon is the most like our hormones, up and down, all around, zipping, zipping, zipping every day, going up and down around the earth. And I feel like that indicates our emotional body, and that emotional body is where it manifests. And then your rising sign is going to be how you perceive all those emotions. And then your sun's going to be how you try to project them out into the world. All right, Pisces, let's see what the sun wants you to enjoy, to play with. New ideas and love. And those new ideas don't have to be about intimate love, just things that you love. Very much Leo. Let's just think about what Leo rules. It rules hobbies. It rules fun. It rules entertainment and actors and children. And Isaiah is pregnant. So if you are of childbearing years, I want you to be vulnerable to the idea that you will, if you're not already, enjoy the experience of being a parent in some way or another. And I want to say it this way because I truly believe, and I've said it a million times in a million different ways, that the soul chooses its parents, chooses its natal chart, chooses the dynamics with which it's going to incarnate to support its evolution. So if you've been trying to have a child for some reason and it hasn't come through, look at all the aspects that this child would have had in its natal chart. So maybe it wants to wait a little bit. Don't give up. And I want to say this too, because I have a client, beautiful, lovely, lovely woman. And I think she's over 40, not much over 40, but she's around 40. And recently she's pregnant. And the first thing she said to me was, I'm old and I'm scared. And I laughed at her and I said, you are representing for all those people that are scared they won't get pregnant, or scared that they won't be able to experience that parental thing because of age. So be proud. All right, Pisces, in your Pisces, this is two relationship energies. Daniel, the angel of marriage, and then we have the spider, which for me is always a relationship. And depending upon the cards surrounding it will tell me whether it's my network or an individual relationship. So it's time. Look at all this warm, fuzzy stuff. Venus is in a sign of great passion. She may not be exalted in Aries, but to me, this is where she's a redhead. This is where Venus has got a little fire in her, and she's kind of like this very passionate energy. So now is a time to really focus in, to look at where you have been telling a story. Now, Daniel will talk about my history and relationships, right? So now is the time to really look at what is your communication. Because those people that sit there and talk about their problems all day long or talk about their challenges, they're kicking in the laws of attraction. And they don't like it very much because they're like, but this is happening to me. This is happening to me. And the more you talk about it, the more it's happening. So let's see how this plays out. Pisces, here's a risk and a happy change to your family when you start to focus on new things, not old things. And I want to offer it this way because Oftentimes, we think we need to change a situation in order to experience new things, and that's not always the case. Sometimes the most amazing new things are experienced in the evolution of something we're already walking through. And I think for Pisces, ultimately, whether you're married, whether you want a relationship, and if you want to go further within that relationship, meaning going into new markers, buying a house, getting, having children, I think it's time to start to look at this in a way that when I start to focus in on what I love, and I don't need to know how it's going to show up, I just need to be willing to take inspired action with it. And I get to, as a Pisces moon especially, look at where I've been sitting in my history. Because oftentimes it's unfortunate, but when we've been hurt or when we've been dumped, that's what they used to call it. Now they call it ghosting. We tend to brace for that. And when we start to feel the vulnerability of our joy, we look for where that joy can be robbed from us. And that's the focus that Archangel Gabriel is asking you to be aware of. Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Because if you really want the sun to shine, you're going to have to be naked and vulnerable for the ride. Look at this kid. He doesn't even have a saddle. He's got no reins. He has got to trust. This is how you ride. Oh, I don't want to do that on camera. But when you ride bareback, there's something about the way that you're holding on with your legs and the rhythm of the horse, right? So you're going to have to do this, Pisces, and you may not be used to it, but as long as you just continue to try. All right, let's go on to our Aquarius. Okay, so let me just say this while I'm putting the cards together. I'm very, very intrigued by the news and the things where R versus W is coming back up again. And I think I've mentioned to you before that I believe there's going to be a Million Mom March on Washington. I don't know if you guys remember me saying that. So when I see this happening, I really feel like there's some exciting things coming up, and not in a way that I know it's going to sound disruptive, but it really feels like it exercises some of the more idealistic dynamics of this country, America, that we're in, being able to speak and have our voice heard, and really starting to level the playing field from our individual categories to our souls knowing, seeing each other's energies versus you're this and you're that, you're short, you're tall, you're poor, you're rich, etc. Okay, let's go on to, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, I really hope everybody all the moms are having a good time out there. Happy Mother's Day. When I went to the morning to get my morning drink, I saw lots of people scurrying around in the floral section. I bought my flowers from Lucky to Me yesterday. It's very funny. I had a whole weird thought about that, but I won't share that either. All right, let's go on to our Aquariuses. I think it's a Mother's Day to anything. I feel like I'm a mother to my tomato plants right now. I kind of laugh at these holidays. Yeah, I love my dog. Okay, Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Big week, Mercury retrograde. Oh, and you know what I want to say real quick about this Mercury retrograde is towards the end of it, there's going to be a long period when it stations. And I think this is very powerful because that stationing is going to be mostly in Taurus. So there's really an opportunity to kind of set a new platform of thought, because Aquarius, this Six of Swords is going from troubled waters after sorrow and some sense of loss into more calm waters. And all the sixes are in some ways a new beginning. They're sort of like a medium beginning. I think of it sort of as like not a false start, but a start that gives me an opportunity for reflection again. So I think for my Aquariuses, while this represents movement, I think this is going to be like the Mercury retrograde. There's going to be a moving away from sorrow in some way. There is the possibility of looking at how, I always believe there's a co-creation of some kind, no matter how traumatic the situation. And I know that sounds crazy, and I could get into individual situations and explain it, but I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was living in Southern California back in 2000, I was really disgruntled and unhappy. And I kept saying to the universe, I just want to wipe the slate clean and start over. I just want to wipe the slate clean and start over. And then I got this harebrained idea to move to the Bible Belt where my friends live and to try to open a spiritual bookstore in the Bible Belt. Never occurred to me what that meant because I integrate God and the spirituality and all these things together. So there I am. I get to the Bible Belt and I find out what the Bible Belt really means. Not so great for the spiritual bookstore. I come home and the moving van is stolen and I lose everything I own. Every single thing except my cats and like 12 bathing suits because it was July. I say that because part of me had been declaring for a year and a half, I want to wipe the slate clean and start over. This was so powerful to see how I was co-creating that experience. Aquarius, whatever you have sorrow about, whatever you're moving away from that has been heavy, you're completely, on some levels, you have to be aware of how you've been thinking. The six of, to me is like it's the cardinal air, which is Libra. And I want to be fair about it's okay to feel the sorrow, but now it's time to give yourself a break, to realize that whatever you've called forth is just another level of awareness. And if for some reason it's pulled something away, you have the same power to recreate it, but at a better level. So let's see what the cards have to say. Oh, never forget about Pluto. Pluto seems to be making a lot of aspects no matter what. Pluto will be trining. And again, I sound like I'm plugging the other video, but I did that other video because there's so much powerful energy between the Mercury retrograde and Pluto's influence on it. Because Pluto will be trining that Mercury retrograde for those like 7 days. So that's huge. Okay. Okay. I want to say this, after I lost everything I own, it was so illuminating for a couple of reasons, because I was aware now of what I was declaring, unbeknownst to me. And within that experience, I was sitting in my apartment in North Carolina, which was a beautiful apartment, honestly. And I looked up and there was these huge fire sprinklers. Like I've never seen that in California. And in that moment, I felt like you need renter's insurance. I have never, ever, still don't have it now. Oh no, I do have renter's insurance now because they made me get it from my landlord, but I didn't have it then. And what I didn't know is that I would lose everything I own. And in the inspiration that Spirit gave me to get that renter's insurance, it recouped me. It was still 2 years and it was a nightmare, but it was a very, very powerful lesson. So again, I want to go back. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Whatever you have, whatever's been broken away, whatever you have sorrow about is actually going to serve you in a much better way as you're willing to move along with it. Meaning, I don't want to forget it. I don't want to release it. I want to use it as a tool to empower myself. So when I feel a certain energy, I take note. Because if you've had an inspiration and you ignored it, that may be the powerful thing that you take away from it. Okay, here we go, Aquarius. I tell you, I can't even believe I'm the second sign and it's already a half hour. I could talk forever. I think I'm going to be talking when I'm dead. My lips will still be moving. And I have no planets in Gemini. Okay. Aquarius, we'll do the same thing. I'm going to just pull them face down and see what happens. I like to change it up so it doesn't get boring. All righty. Okay, our first set of angels for Aquarius is Ray and the Eagle. And I want to offer it this way because for me, Ray is funny. It talks about yoga and exercise. And look at that position that she's sitting in. It's a meditative position. There's nothing yoga about it. It's connecting her power chakra with her heart. And what am I speaking in that blue stripe? The Eagle is all about, I want to say it this way. I think, yes, it could be the connection to the angelic realm, but I actually feel like it's like an eagle this time. Rise above it, Aquarius. Fly like Aquarius rules space. I feel like it's time to get above a situation. I don't know what happened last night. I woke up and I opened TikTok in the middle of the night, like, most crazy people do. And I scroll and there's a falcon flying over Dubai. Okay. And I just watched it for a while. It was fascinating to watch it. I mean, felt like it was like an airplane. And I want to say it like this. I feel like you need to be like that. You need to fly over your life right now and really look above and see if you're standing in an energy that's authentic to you and what you want. Because if you have a momentum built up about something and you feel like, it's kind of like when you go and you get that first job at McDonald's and then you feel like, fuck, I don't want to work. Oh, pardon me. I don't want to work at McDonald's anymore. I want to work somewhere else. But you think, oh, I only have, I'll go to Burger King. And you keep like getting this, you're working where your resume is taking you versus where you want to go. Because in your opportunity or your obstacle is Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And there's the water fairy. And I feel like, I don't consider Aquarius, Moon, or any of Aquarius terribly emotional. I feel like you're more scientific, you think more logically in some ways. And I feel like part of this rising above and looking is playing to what does your heart want? Because if your heart for some reason feels like it's, needs to push a machine in order to feel secure in the material world, that may not be the case. And this is what is being identified for you right now. Because in the angel's advice, we have, you're learning something about moving in a new direction. And I think that new direction is more authentic to what you want. And let me put it this way. The world has changed in such a way where a lot of people get paid for their opinion, or they get paid for being who they are. Okay. I mean, I think the Kardashians are a perfect example of that. I'm not saying I love them or otherwise, but I feel as if for Aquarius, you're so individualistic. You represent uniqueness, genius. And I think it's time to play to that. And it's time to move in a new direction that is really focused on what is most authentic to you. Because in the final position, we have Ariel. And then we have the disruption card. And I want to offer it this way because I don't think this is outside disruption, although with a lunar eclipse, we may see something. But I think this is an illumination through a disruption that may have already taken place, or you already feel a disruption coming in some way. I kind of think it's already happened. Again, we're moving away, Aquarius, from the disruption. We're moving into calmer waters. There's still a sense of sorrow and loss, but I think in the revamping or the 2.0 version, you're going to be more authentic to your wants and desires. And even if they feel different from everybody else, that doesn't mean that they have to feel as if it won't. I want to put it this way. If you believe that the outside world, Aquarius by nature rules the 11th house of networks. So if you think you have to play to your network in order to be palatable to them, maybe it's time for you to learn that it's about you and you as a commodity. And as you expand and grow to your authenticity, people respond to that as well. Okay. Let's go into our Capricorns. You know what, Lucy, I've been finding out that funny things happened. A couple weeks ago, I did the solar eclipse video, and I went into meditation, and I do all sorts of different kind of meditations. Sometimes I chant the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Sometimes I just try to listen to the air conditioning sound and breathe. And this particular one, I was doing the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I was struggling. I could feel myself like Marty McFly fading in and out of my meditation. And then, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 days later. Oh, and I got an inspiration to boost the video on Instagram. 4 or 5 days later, I got like 200 new subscribers on my channel. And I got to tell you, it was really weird because the minute that happened, I saw myself go, and I was like it was some sort of weird miracle that couldn't happen again. So over this last week, and this is what I think is happening for me during this eclipse dynamic, is really seeing how I get in my own way by looking at things as if they're magical and can only happen once, because I had no resistance on that. I had no expectation. And now as I do things, I see a bit of an expectation, which in some ways may actually clip me. It's so weird. Okay, here we go. Do I sound like I'm plugging my channel? I don't know. You got to plug your channel. Okay, here we go. Let's go on to our Capricorns, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Your tarot card is, oh, nice, the Page of Pentacles. This is the infusion of money, the material. And if there is one thing that Capricorn wants to see, it is their endeavors anchored in the material world for everyone to see. So let's see what this is about, because it may be the idea of Capricorn giving themselves an opportunity to use, especially if you are a late born Capricorn, you've got Pluto going back and forth conjunct your sign. I don't know what house it would be, but it may be about a rethinking of how you make money. And if you are making money in a way that supports your joy, or if you're making money in a way that feels dutiful. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, Capricorn, what is this whole Page of Pentacles trying to tell you? Our first angel, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do it the way I used to, is Teresa. The second is Layla. The third is Estera. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. It's so funny sometimes the stories I'm inspired to tell you guys, and then the cards seem to back them up, because this all feels a little bit like it's about communication and worry. But let's see. Oops, because if we're worried about money, worry about money blocks money. I know it's hard not to worry about money, especially right after tax season. Okay, Capricorn. Teresa's being joined by the dragon. Layla's being joined by the eagle. Estera's being joined by the disruption card. And Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the letting go card. Okay, so Teresa talks about worry for me, and it's really a focus on other people. It's a focus on, it's almost where I feel as if I put myself aside in some way. And I feel as if for my Capricorns, if you're worried about money, or you're worried about material resources, because that's exactly what the Page of Pentacles is going to represent, but it also represents an opportunity to bring new material resources in as I'm inspired by new ideas. Worry blocks new ideas. Worry blocks inspiration. Worry blocks peace. And in order for you to actually have this inspiration, you're going to have to be calm and cool and get out of this place of dutiful thought. Capricorn will go back inadvertently. Now let's talk about a Mercury retrograde and start to seek out, experiences that will support and let the goat move forward. And I think you got to be one of those goats that hangs out in the trees for a while. Remember those goats? You would see them, because it's time to get a bird's eye view. This is the eagle, and really connect with spirit about your truer intentions. Because I think this is the transformation to the baby goat that's having slightly more fun in the world. And in order to do that, we've got to sort of disrupt any thoughts that don't allow us to really reach for the stars. The human for eons and eons and eons has been predisposed to work hard. There's a million different sayings. We don't get it. We don't get on any, and this is why I think this time is so pivotal and so, while it so seems so crazy out in the world, I think without these huge calamities, these things that have forced our structures to change. The 40-hour work week is ridiculous to me. It really feels ridiculous. It feels ridiculous that the human spends 3/4 of their week not enjoying their lives, most people. If you're lucky enough to have a job you like, even that can get wearisome, because I think here, as we talk about Capricorn, we're really going to go into the way am I thinking, and do I harbor this insecurity? Because you guys know the letting go card is about fear for me. It's the song Let It Go from Frozen. It's funny how some distance made everything seem small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. So this is where I'm going with this, because now when I don't try to avoid fear, and if indeed that fear is of material resources, because Pluto may be scaring the crap out of you, pardon my language again, but especially those late born or those late degree Capricorns. Now, let me throw this out at you. If you're a late degree Capricorn, from my intuitive perception, that's a mastery. You're at those degrees where your soul has been there before. It's worked this energy before, and now it's time to move into the more higher vibrations of that. So when we get to the 29th degree, we're talking the Leo degree. When we get to the 28th degree, we're talking the Cancerian degree. And right now we're at the 27th degree, which is the Gemini degree. Again, how do I think? Rewriting how I think, because how I think is where my focus goes. Where my focus goes is where my law of attraction goes. Where my law of attraction goes brings in my experience. So this is really beautiful. It's wonderful. It's an opportunity to say, is my worry dominating me? Is my sense of duty dominating me? And if so, then you don't try to stop it, because that's a resistant energy. You thank Spirit for giving you an experience to anchor in your new perception. And then what we see is fear becoming something very transformational, something we embrace. And not in a way that we embrace, not brace, because when we're embracing, we're looking for the pearls within the situation that actually give us that tail wag, that excitement, that, oh my God, I can't believe I've done it. When I talk to some of my old friends, they really can't believe that I've made a living doing this. They're like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you could do that. And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't worry about believing it, because I just want, if indeed what I am putting out into the world is, I think people are hearing the truth in it. I don't think it's me. So that's why the laws of attraction continue to support the work. It can be the same thing for you, Capricorn. Baby goat time. Baby goat time. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's see what your tarot card is. We have the Two of Wands. This is cardinal air. Yeah, no, cardinal fire. And so this is going to represent Aries. It's going to be an opportunity for you to see the world that you want to create. You have the world in your hands. And in many ways, I feel like this is very much about inspiration right now. It's about taking this mercurial energy and this, if you think about the idea of the beginning of the retrograde is in Gemini for Mercury, which is the opposing sign of Sagittarius. So I think this is a way for you to see a bigger version of yourself, and then start to anchor it into your everyday experience. And this Pluto trining the retrograde when it's in Taurus will give you an opportunity to be supported by these aspects to start to put it into your 3D world. So let's see oops, where the focus is on this. Because when I initially look at it, it seems sort of career oriented to me, as if I want to see my own personal expression out in the world. And when I say career these days, I kind of think it could be anything from, TikTok influencers to Instagram. I mean, there's even new platforms every once in a while. The medical medium seems to know about all the new platforms, but I can't keep track of them. All right, Sagittarius, where is your personal vision of your world going to flourish? In the work environment, Celeste, a new home or a new place of employment. All righty. Then we have Caressa. Then we have Archangel Michael. And then we have Chantal. Celeste is being joined by the goblin. Caressa is being joined by the cat. Archangel Michael is being joined by the communications card. And Chantal is being joined by the trust card. When I look at this, normally when I see Celeste, I'll talk about a shift in the way I'm thinking. But really, with this Two of Wands for Sagittarius, fire sign, again, I really feel like this is a vision of your personal world, what you want it to be. And I want to offer it this way because we talk about Scorpio, this lunar eclipse illuminating something, bringing something to light. Scorpio by nature brings secrets. It brings where we have been powerless or where we have been overpowering kind of thing. Because what I think is going on here for Sagittarius is there is an opportunity for a move, but the ego here feels like it's the edging God out. I feel as if this is not, it's almost as if, when we think about projecting our dreams and we think about, I want to be the master of my own domain, we're also, we're the ones that have to believe that we'll be supported by the universe. Otherwise, we're constantly in a state of fear, trying to see if people will respond to us, because I think that's where it's about connecting with spirit again. It's like, spirit, I really want to move myself in a new direction. It could be a new job. It could be birthing something individual from you while you hold on to your old job. And it's time not to edge God out, because the Caressa talks about the end of a life cycle. That could also be this eclipse. And this offers me new independence and healthy boundaries. And I want to offer it this way, because healthy boundaries, we can talk about the physical Sagittarius. We could say, you've been, working so hard for somebody else and now it's time to work for you. But I think that this has to do with your mental boundaries. It has to do with how you're perceiving something and the viability of your own dreams. Because when I go to the angel's advice, I have Archangel Michael asking Sagittarius to be brave and courageous in their communication. But I don't know if I think that communication is to the outside world as much as it's to the inside world. Earlier, Jules and I had this little brief conversation about feeling like we had family members that were toxic. One of the things I realized is if I talked about my dreams with those people, they were dream killers. And my job was to recognize where I might talk about something and be excited about something, and then somebody else that I go to talk to is really not supportive of that. And yet there's a close enough relationship with them that I want them to be supportive. And they could inadvertently, rain on my parade, because here's Celeste, the angel of romance, and here's the trust card. Now, Sagittarius, I could talk about romance, but when I go back to Celeste, I feel like I'm talking about a job you love. I'm talking about you feeling better about who you are, feeling sort of in your full, Sagittarius rules the higher realms of thought, the conceptual thoughts, the philosophical thoughts. So this really feels like it's an opportunity for you to trust yourself and what you love. That 47 reduces down to an 11. Again, I'm seeing this theme of thought, of the master number of thought, and not allowing my my ego to edge God out as I move into new territory that's more authentic to what I want to experience in my everyday life, and how my life, how I feel purposeful and powerful, and the master of my own life. That's the way I want to put it. And I want to offer it this way, because if for some reason during this eclipse something ends, and something you had, I want to almost say hated, that might be a strong word, but something that you needed, or you perceive you needed, or you perceive provided something, and it comes to an end, I think this is a time to be brave and move forward in your thoughts about, because again, Mercury retrograde, because when we get to the end of the Mercury retrograde and its stations, I feel like that stationing is going to be a powerful moment as it trines Pluto to start to see things popping up through the earth that you're birthing right now through your thought process. I hope that makes sense. So Sagittarius, love what it is you're birthing. Okay. Let's go on to our Scorpios. It's your moon. Okay. Scorpio. Oh, lovely. Look at the 10 of Pentacles. Money, 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 money. Money. Okay. It's also tradition. It also represents all of this sort of material comfort and flow. We have all the generations represented here. We have the pets represented. We have the children. And there is a sense of community and a sense of, I almost feel like I love this new network, Magnolia, and I watched this show called Family Dinner. And that's what this feels like, a sense of tradition, a sense of comfort and flow within money. And I want to offer it this way, because when we think about Scorpio, one of the things Scorpio represents is billionaires, lots and lots and lots of money. And money is involved in this house. Money you inherit, money that you play with in the stock market and the financial dynamics, money that is in many ways commingled. So this would feel like very much very traditional. I said inheritances already. Well, let's see where this is going to go. Where is this money, this tradition coming from? Thank you, Jenny. Oh, Stephen, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your training. It's good to see your smiling face in the chat. All right, here we go. What's this 10 of Pentacles for you, Scorpio? Rising, moon, sun, and stars. And if you have a Scorpio moon, and it's around 25th degree. Isn't that what the degree? Yep, this is a 25th degree full moon. This is super, super transformational for you. And I want to say this, your bravery to dig into your heart, Pluto will reward you. You know, everyone talks about how benevolent Jupiter is and Venus is. And, yes, indeed. But let me tell you, those more challenging planets, when you play to the highest vibration of them, they have the biggest tail wag. Then those other planets come in and support in ways you can't even imagine. So Scorpio, 10 of Pentacles is being joined by Opal. Then we have Teresa. Then we have Rosetta. And then we have Mystique. That's 2 children's cards. Hey, Joshua. Your mother did a gorgeous job of making the flowers at pavilions look fabulous. I really noticed yesterday. I walked in there and I was like, oh my God, everything's color coordinated and full and fresh. And it was beautiful. Okay, here we go. Scorpio. Opal is being joined by the Trust card. Teresa is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Rosetta is being joined by the Protection card. And the dog is joining Mystique. Okay, I'm going to go 2 ways with this, because we have Rosetta and Opal both here. So if you're a Scorpio of childbearing years and you want to bring a little soul through, please relax. It's Mother's Day today. So I think that's rather interesting. Because again, I want to offer you this idea. Not all souls want to be incarnated just when a parent wants to have them, because the astrological dynamics are too challenging. They don't want to do it. And if you think about the last couple of years and what that would look like in a lifetime, it would be, Pluto's aspects and squares to all the cardinal signs, opposing Cancer. Might have wanted to wait a little bit. But I also want to say this for those of you that are single. If indeed you are looking to fall in love, you're looking to have that rich, deep, savory, intimate relationship that Scorpio represents, now is a time to be really authentic with your wants and desires and a little bit cutthroat about not going down the road of unacceptable characters or partners. This whole full moon is about acknowledging and recognizing relationships that are out of balance. So Opal is telling you that God and the angels are watching over your children, and there's the trust card. Oftentimes I see Opal and the God and the angels as, I see Opal as God holding space for my dreams. And in addition to that, outside children. Me never personally wanting to have children, I can't always go to little babies. I have to go to other things where I put my love. So Scorpio, I really want you to pay attention. The 47 reduces down to an 11. Your ruling planet is trining this Mercury retrograde, which is giving you an opportunity to have a positive and harmonious aspect as you unearth your own thought process and mental. How much do I trust that my dreams will come true? How much do I trust that I can experience parenthood if that's what I want? Because we got a lot of worry going on here. There's the Wind Fairy. The 29 is an 11 again. We have Rosetta and the protection card, which is a 38, which is an 11. We're seeing a lot of master number of thought here in this spread. And we can even go back to the 1 that the 10 represents. And it's time for Scorpio to dig deep and to think about the bounty that you want. And if indeed you could potentially be putting relationships at the forefront of your life that don't really feed you, because in the final position is Mystique and the dog. And Mystique is a process coming out of the dark. That's Pluto coming out of the dark and into the light. And there's the love, loyalty, and sincerity. So I want to say this. Overall, for my Scorpios, whatever it is that you love to the deepest part of your heart, it's time to be authentic with that. It's time to really look at your participation. If for some reason you're being cooperative in relationships that are out of balance, or with people that don't have the same intentions you have. If you're dating somebody who's already experienced parenthood and they've been through 18, 20 years, and even maybe they had a challenging child, they may not want another child. And you want a child. So here you are going, well, I'm just going to, I love him, or I love her. And yet there's an underbelly of knowing that you have a big disconnect in your wants and desires. This is what this eclipse is about, Scorpio. Really illuminating where you are inadvertently asserting yourself that isn't serving you, because you're asserting yourself in a way that is about trying to change somebody else to fit what you want versus allowing what you want to come in. Okay? Because it's here for you. It's time to claim it. Okay, let's go on to our Libra. I've never done those energy lines thing. I have a lot of people asking about them lately and about, location charts, but I don't really know anyone that does that. I've never really seen anybody that does that good. All right, let's go to our Libras. Our tarot card for Libra is the 8 of Pentacles. This is really, really a powerful card because there's already manifestation taking place. There's already a certain amount of growth and development that you've done, Libra. Now it's about the fine tuning and the details. It's about going over something and really looking at it and making sure that it reflects where you want to go in the material world. And I want to say it this way because the 8 is a number of prosperity. And when I first started my channel, I did pick a card readings, and I never liked doing them. It always felt somehow like, I don't know, I've always wanted these readings to be about tools that give you power over your lives. When I was younger and I would go to psychics, they made it seem like things were happening to me, and it never resonated with me. I remember some lady telling me I was cursed and all this stuff, and if I paid her blah 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 blah, and I walked away giving her a big birdie because I was like, yeah, I may be cursed, but I could take care of me. Hello, Aries rising. Because Libra, I think that if for some reason you've been in a cooperative relationship or you've been in some sort of cooperative situation and you've amassed a certain amount of material comfort or wealth through it, and yet there may be something in the fine details that is out of balance. Let's look and see what Spirit has to say. Because in that, you may inadvertently be holding yourself small. When I think about, hey, Can-Chan, it's good to see you in the chat. Welcome. Because I want to offer it this way. Sometimes I think that Libra can think that without a partnership, they don't have enough foundation to stand on their own. And I don't know if I think that's always true. I can't help but think that Saturn is exalted in Libra, which is interesting to me because Saturn squares Libra by nature, being Capricorn. So there is this cooperation that happens beneath the surface of the human experience. So Libra, our first angel is Seraphina. The second is Adriana. The third is Shanti. And the final is Archangel Uriel. Seraphina is being joined by the cow. Adriana is being joined by the owl. Shanti is being joined by the queen. And Archangel Uriel is being joined by the wasp. This is very interesting to me. The wasp is never fun. It's always a stinging energy. And Archangel Uriel is always about frustration and anger. So let me offer it this way. Because when I look at the 8 of Pentacles, again, we're talking about looking at the detail of how I am procuring my material resources, how I'm developing them. And I want to offer it this way because the cow is offering nourishment and abundance, and there's Seraphina offering a change. Now, it's interesting to me because Libra by nature, again, likes to be in a partnership, even when they're single. So I want to be in partnership with my, a work professional person or within a network. And here's the owl leading you to the answers to your prayers, but there's disruption. The disruption is actually the deception that you aren't big enough, that you aren't okay on your own. Because here's Shanti and the queen. And the queen, in the angel's advice with Shanti, the angel of peace, says to me that Libra gets to stand on their own 2 feet about something. And until you do, you're just going to be pissed off and angry. And I'll tell you, this is where the shadow side of Libra shows up as kind of passive aggressive. Because if you've been in a partnership, and I'm going to offer it this way, because most of the time, astrologers will say the contractual partnership, you have to sign a legal document. But these days, with the way the internet is and the way people build communities, there could be this opportunity where you have been putting forth a lot of effort and you're not feeling yourself being appreciated or feeling yourself feeling an even exchange of energy. And it's important for you to really look a little bit deeper so that you can determine whether that relationship has expired. Again, this full moon is about really evolving past relationships that are out of balance, that seem as if they will provide something, and if they don't provide it, or you've been in it in a while and it hasn't borne fruit, then it's time to maybe move in a new direction, because I think this is going to block energy. And I think this is a little bit where Libra is participating in their own discomfort, because they're wanting to receive something outside of themselves. And I think that until you stand on your own 2 feet, you may not know what that really feels like. Okay, let's go on. I don't like when the wasp shows up. I shouldn't say that, but it's really a challenging energy. And the wasp is the natural enemy of the butterfly. When the butterfly comes out of the cocoon and it's laying there for the days it takes for its wings to dry, it's very vulnerable to the wasp. So anger may not serve you. You may find more cooperation and more give and take when you demonstrate more of the diplomatic dynamics of Libra. Okay, Virgo. We have the 2 of Pentacles here. This 2 of Pentacles is about flexibility. It's a travel card. We see the ocean in the background. There's a feeling of the seas feel a little bit like you need Dramamine, to be honest. So flexibility is required here. And I want to offer it this way, because when I think about the dynamics going on right now, your ruling planet, Mercury, going retrograde, the idea that, Mercury goes retrograde all the time, but the idea of this particular dynamic of going from Gemini, the way I think, into Taurus, which is about money and about a certain fixed energy, a certain rigidity. So now we're looking at being flexible. And I want to offer it this way, because the flexibility feels like it's in my thought and in my perception of how things go. And there may be a bit of a roller coaster ride before the information, or before you land on a final conclusion about something. That's the way I want to put it. Let's look and see. Yes, they do. And moths and butterflies are not really too far from each other in what they are. Okay. Virgo. Our first angel is Bridget. The second is Athena. The third is Xana. And the final is Bethany. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Bridget is being joined by the eagle. Athena's being joined by the novice. Xana's being joined by the wasp. And Bethany's being joined by the movement card. Okay. I want to say this because, when I look at Virgo and I think about the idea that Jupiter was opposing Virgo for a while, and so was Venus, and Mars is opposing. I can't remember where Mars is. I haven't looked at the degree, but I believe it's still in Pisces. And then we have Neptune in Pisces. I feel as if for my Virgos, this flexibility could have something to do with your emotional body, as you're starting to, if you think about Virgo, rules employment, it rules health, it rules so many things outside of you. Like Virgo, basically, you're like, how are you of service? How are you of health? How are you taking care of your pets? It's so much about other people in some respects that I feel as if when Bridget is saying, look deeper, and the eagle is coming up, I think this might be about taking care of you. This might be a little bit about, have you put the mask on you so you can take care of the babies around you? Because now is Athena saying it's time for you to lovingly assert yourself in a new beginning. And I want to offer it this way. When you're so, people come to depend on certain people. And the more dependable you are, the less people actually notice your dependability and appreciate it. The more they just expect it. So, you know that person in your family that's always 4 hours late to an event and they get away with everything? They don't show up with anything, and yet everybody's like, "Hey, so good to see you. So fun, so fun." And you're the one that shows up on time and you bring the dish you say you're going to bring, and everybody just sort of doesn't really show appreciation. I think it's time for you to start to take care of you. Okay. Like I feel like if Virgo wants to look at acknowledging or recognizing a relationship that's out of balance, is it the one you have with yourself? Because here's Xana, the angel of protection, and there's the wasp. And I think that may be for my Virgos actually taking care of themselves, feeling that they will pay a price for not putting others first or not being of service. Because in the final position, I have Bethany, which is about self-care, and there's the movement card. I feel like it's so important for Virgo to start to look at what is authentic to you. Yes, it may be a bit of a roller coaster ride, and you may have a little bit of concern about how that may affect your material world. But this connection to the angelic realm with the eagle and looking deeper is so Plutonian. I truly believe that when we are brave at this time, while the world appears to be crumbling, I'm so excited for Stephen to actually be pursuing something that he's excited about right now. And as we start to pursue things we're excited about, the universe will open up. And no matter what the outside human structure tells you about your body, about your ability to make money, they may tell you depressions and recessions are coming. Your own personal law of attraction insulates you from these things. And as you look deeper and you connect with the angelic realm and you see how important it is for you to take care of you and do so you don't start to get stingy, you don't get more annoyed with relationships that I want to say are taking advantage of you. Because this movement card and taking care of Bethany, saying to take care of yourself, the movement isn't just for you, it's for others. Because when we give imbalance, when we choose to bring the dish to the party instead of knowing it's expected of us, there's a different vibration to it. So when you're choosing what you're dutiful to, when you're choosing what is important to you, and you give yourself a little bit of a roller coaster ride as your emotions say, are you sure that's okay? Are you sure that's okay? Because the shadow side of Virgo is being enslaved to something, enslaved to the thought that my health may deteriorate. I was talking to my friend back east, and he's a little bit younger than I am, and he was telling me how old he's getting. I'm like, get off the bacon and eggs, man. You'll feel a lot better. And he started laughing. I'm like, you're only as old as what you eat. And well, that was a specific conversation. We were laughing because he was kind of throwing things outside of himself. So here we see this idea of his health starting to dictate something and him not really putting the two things together. So I feel like as you take care of you, and again, I don't want to make you having to eat granola or rice cakes, it's more about whatever emotionally is important to Virgo. As you put that forth and allow that to blossom, then all the other parts of your life start to come into alignment. And then that alignment starts to really stand for others. It starts to open up, and that's your greatest service without even realizing it. Because a human will tell you that you have to work for other humans. Spirit won't tell you that. Spirit will tell you, do you. And then you are working for other humans. All right, here we go. I know it's not easy transition. Expectations are rough. They are. Okay. On to our Leos. Okay, the Eight of Swords. Now, this is an interesting energy because it's not always, look at the character. Those bandages they don't look like they're actually bound. They look quite loose. It's almost as if she has to poof out a little bit to hold them up. That the blindfold looks a little loose. I don't think it would really is doing anything but making this woman pretend that she doesn't know what's going on. She pretends on some level that she's not part of this wall of swords. So I want to offer it this way, because this is not about judgment. Again, the human is predisposed, pre-wired, and frankly, when I think about the soul coming in and people go, how can a baby, it's so innocent. How can babies have bad things happen to them? The soul has a point of attraction. And that point of attraction is not meant to pull the rug out or to hurt us or harm us. It's meant to give us an opportunity to make a choice. And I think that's what this character is afraid to make a choice. Look at her feet. Little bit on land, little bit in the water, and neither are flat. She's not solid in anything. So she's a big period of indecision, big period of not wanting to see what I don't want to see. All right, let's see where we're going with this, Leo. In my notes, I just saw that I made a note that this Gemini, or the Mercury retrograde, starts at, we're in the shadow period now. So we know it's slowing down, but it starts technically at the 4th degree of Gemini, which is the Cancerian degree of Gemini. What makes you feel at home? Are you trusting your instincts? Are you able to, I think this is a little bit of a thing moving forward for all of us, is to be able to determine, what makes us truly feel at home. And then to ask that question again, because if the first time you ask it, it'll probably be in relation to others or in relation to whatever this wall is. So let's see, Leo. Mystique is our first angel. The second is Ariel. The third is Rosetta. And the final is Oceana. Don't be scared, Jules. That's not bad. That gives you, that's really the purest degree of Gemini, right? And so this is really an opportunity as you look at what does the sun represent. The sun represents how you project yourself into the world, how you want others to see you. Gemini is fun and flirtatious and social. We don't need to go into the more each sign has its challenging signs, but this is an opportunity for you to live and to foster the purest energy of Gemini, to be involved around with people that you like, networks that you like, in the form of neighborhoods and clubs and teams. And okay, Mystique is being joined by the owl. We're on Leo right now, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Ariel is being joined by the goblin. Rosetta is being joined by the raven, and Oceana is being joined by the love card. All right, here we go. So while I don't see any particular relationship here, I want to offer this sort of in general. The last couple of years has been a real lifting of the rug of what makes us truly happy. I think a lot of the structures that we had in play put Band-Aids on certain dynamics within our life. So we felt as if we were satiated or satisfied in some ways. And yet at the same time, there were holes that we had become accustomed to being there. So we didn't really feel them at any strong level. But I think at this point, it's starting to come up. And I think on some level, it's going to require Leo to be a little bit more brave in moving forward, continuing to push past any deception. What does Scorpio represent? In some ways, secrets. We have a full moon in Scorpio at the 25th degree, which is the degree of Aries, which is also Mars. There's a deeper truth coming up. So here, keep charging ahead. And the owl is asking you to be brave, in deciphering through this experience. And I don't want to really say deception and wisdom, because I want to say it this way. If for some reason you've been sitting, Leo, in an energy that has held yourself back, is it really serve you to be judgy, or were you doing the best you could do at the time? Because judging yourself is edging God out, and God is trying to connect with you in a very big way. Now let's look at it this way, or let's talk about this. Saturn has been going through Aquarius for a while now. And as it's gone, it's opposed all the varying degrees of Leo. So you may have felt this repression or this depression or this feeling of being restricted in some way. And if indeed that's true, then it's about being more authentic to what is true to you and needing that sort of opportunity to reflect. Because if you've been operating on something that you think you wanted because that it would give you the applause of others, again, Leo needing an applause, the way Capricorn needs to see their efforts manifested in the material, Leo needs to see people applaud them for what they are as individuals. So now this is what Spirit's saying. It's time to adopt a childlike dynamic. It's time to see where the wisdom is born from the deception. The wisdom is born through the challenges, because what I think has happened for Leo and what I think this really reflects is you haven't been truly following your heart on some level. Because here's the love card and Oceana asking you to swim up through the emotional waters to the truth of what you want to experience. So let me offer this. Sometimes I have people come for readings and they say to me, well, I'd like to talk about my work and I'd like to talk about love. So I try to start with their work. Spirit won't go there. Spirit starts talking about their love life, because the love life is really what they want, but they're so vulnerable to it, or they feel so scared that something negative is going to come up that they kind of go and default to what they know. I'm fine by myself. I'm good. Tell me about my career. And Spirit won't let that happen. So Mystique is saying, Leo, keep charging ahead. Look for the wisdom within anything that feels challenging. Watch and see where your ego might be edging God out, because you're telling yourself something that might be an old story or a story that you just can't kind of let go of or incorporate, because now is a time to realize that this may be out of your hands in some ways. There may be a timing issue. And now you get to have a childlike innocence about understanding the timing of things and just keep focusing in on what you love. Continue to focus in. And if you get into this crazy space here where you feel like you're just stuck in a wall of swords, a wall of moving, do something fun. Go play. That will help break the energy. And when I say play, I mean authentically play, not pretend to play. Okay, on to our Cancers. All right, Cancer, your tarot card is the Four of Cups. I'm sorry, the Four of Pentacles. I wish it was the Four of Cups. That would be a little bit easier. But I'm going to say this. The Four of Pentacles is an interesting card because there's bounty here. But this character is holding on too tight. And that is actually a block of energy. So let's see where the block is coming in. Because, you know, one of the things I've learned as I've done this work and as I've gotten older and older, 62 and a half now, it really makes me, I realize more and more that the closer the human gets to their happiness, the more vulnerable they become, the more scared they become, the more protective they become, the more they look for, you know, where bad things that they've experienced before could creep in. And this is really kind of doesn't serve us. And when we think about the idea of Cancer ruling nurturing, ruling the motherhood experience, and then the idea that the crab tends to go sideways, there could inadvertently, in the challenging energy, now that the world's opened up for you, you may have this bit of hoarding energy where you're not quite feeling secure with your feet on the ground. Let's see. Our first angel is Desiree. The second is Opal. The third is Merlina. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Desiree's been joined by the King. Opal's being joined by Love. Merlina's being joined by Merlin. And Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the Butterfly. Cancer, I want to offer you this idea. I love the idea of Cancer, But there is such a vulnerable feeling to owning the fourth house, which is the very bottom of the zodiac. You're literally like Atlas holding up the whole zodiac. And there is such a feeling of sometimes that Cancer is so busy focusing on loving others that they can't even feel love coming to them. They can't even feel nurturing coming back to them. And I feel as if it's time for you to kind of look at this Four of Pentacles energy and see if somehow you're holding your breath, because this is about justice and this is about timing. And if you're in this energy, the universe can't really bring what you want in, because the laws of attraction are not emotional. The law of attraction is like a computer. If you hit the hoarding key, or you hit the I'm sad key, or you hit the I don't feel loved key enough, this experience will continue to move forward over and over again. And even if it isn't, your perception will align to it, because Opal is asking you to reach up to God in the heavens, to your spiritual team, to your guides, your angels, and to seek love in every situation, because that is where the magic of Merlin will take place. That is where the balance of the dolphins will come in. That's where the yin and the yang comes in. Everything has purpose. And this is where the alchemy, justice, and balance come in. And we see this again reflected with the king, because Archangel Gabriel is telling Cancer, give your insecurities to me, because it's time to blossom out of this dark place for you. It's time to start to realize that if you are feeling lack, your focus of lack is creating lack. And while that seems annoying to hear, it's simply the laws of the universe. So as you open up and you say to Spirit, I've been feeling like this lack for so long, I don't know how to let go of it. Thank you for giving me experiences to anchor me into a new dynamic, to help me get out of this energy where I can't trust the bounty I have. So I'm sitting holding too tight, because when we hold too tight, things evaporate. So allow yourself the vulnerability of the journey of the butterfly, because it is going literally, it is in a constant state of metamorphosis. And the minute it achieves one level of transformation, it starts another level of transformation. And on some level, if you have come into this energy, this lifetime, with a strong Cancerian energy, you are managing your intuition. You are learning how to trust the unseen. Your soul is trying to remember the bigger part of you that creates at a level that the human doesn't understand when it first gets into this experience. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses. I think the sun is sitting right next to Uranus right now. Yay. Okay. I'm with you, Lucy Rose. Flowing and flowing. Here we go. Oh, Gemini. Thank you very much. I didn't do Gemini. Yeah, that was Cancer. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad somebody's paying attention. I told you I got this little Uranus is opposing my personal Mercury. And I got to tell you, it's just bizarre to me. When I did my webinar on the 30th, I swear I had so many troubles with the emails. It was crazy. It really drove me crazy. All right, Gemini, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's your card? Are you ready, Gemini? Are you ready for something exciting to happen? Something unexpected? Something very big brother-ish, meaning expect the unexpected? The Tower. Now, I got to tell you, I'm not scared of this card. Every time when I was younger and I would finally find my wingman, my wing girl, and someone to hang out with, within 6 months, that girl would get married. She'd freaking find somebody and I'd be on my own again. So I don't think this is negative, but I do think that there's something electric about it. And I want to offer this because now we have the idea that your ruling planet is going retrograde in your sign. It's not too far in. It's just at 4 degrees, and it's going to go into Taurus. So this tower may be heralding something that you've been thinking about for a long time. If for some reason you've not been happy in your work environment, let's look and see where the environment is. But if you've not been happy somewhere in your everyday life, with the team you're working on, if your children have been driving you crazy, if the moms at the school, if whatever, we really have to think about those everyday activities that we do, the things that we do unconsciously every day that rule our to-do lists and our calendars. And this is where that potential disruption could come in. And let me just say this, Gemini, slow your roll in the car. Do not drive a million miles an hour. Do not be a bat out of hell. Be the more mindful person over this next period of time. I just got a very strong hit that in your everyday life, somebody around you in your driving could blow through a red light. Be aware. Be aware. Do not pop off the line. Do not drive too fast. Be aware. Because that very awareness may be a signal from you that Spirit is watching over you in a way. All right, here we go. Athena is our first angel, Gemini. The second is Isaiah. The third is Fiona. Oh boy, new beginnings. And Xana. So here we are. We're in a week where your ruling planet is going retrograde in the sign of everyday activities, going back and retrograding in Taurus, which is about your money. And then it's going to station for, I swear, I think it's 7 to 10 days when this Mercury retrograde is over, or as it comes to an end. And all of that is going to be so powerful because it's going to be trining Pluto, this 26-degree idea. So there's an opportunity of really good things happening. Well, let's see. We have the Lady of the Lake joining Athena. We have the Stag. We have Fiona being joined by the Disruption card, and Xana's being joined by the Restriction card. I think there's something that could potentially happen within your everyday life. Your work life is mostly where I'm going with this, where it's time to be truly authentic about how you're spending your time and to start to assert yourself into that deeper truth of what you want moving forward. I want to offer this because when I look at this, I feel almost as if Gemini is going back and forth between not liking what they're doing or not liking something in their everyday life. And I'm going to this work environment, but feeling powerless to change it. And so now I'm sort of stuck on thinking about all the things that I'm disgruntled about. Now I feel like the idea of a new beginning feels like I can't think of it. The Stag feels like it's about pride here. Like I can't see the new beginning, so I don't know how it would be. And whatever your monkey mind, that lower energy of Gemini is either aging you out or this won't happen. I don't have that education, blah, blah, blah. There's a big story of I don't have. And I feel like Spirit is saying we need to disrupt whatever that story is because God and the angels are going to bring you an opportunity. And will you be brave enough to actually step through that opportunity? Because right now is the Protection card and the Restriction card. And this is what I want to say. This tower may bring unexpected change around you, which is the impetus for feeling change that will directly affect you. And I feel as if I look at this idea of this lunar eclipse, so you Gemini may be seeing over the last few months since November when that new moon in Scorpio happened, things bubbling up in your everyday life or throughout your work environment or wherever there's a teammate. Because some of you are stay-at-home moms, which doesn't mean you don't work, and it doesn't mean that you don't interact with others in brief periods of time throughout your day. Because there's something about being authentic to yourself, not being too stubborn about opening up to a new opportunity that first must be birthed in your mind. Like I think it's been birthed as if I wish it could happen, but I feel as if the dominant thought is it can't happen. Either you've got too many obligations, too many bills or something, and I need to disrupt that thought. I need to allow myself to liberate myself. This is Uranus for me in some ways. I want to blow that thought up and understand that any restriction that's happening now is so I can anchor into the idea of a new beginning before I step into actually doing it. I feel as if this particular eclipse is sort of a push between the security I can create through my own endeavors and the security I feel as a result of other people providing me with something. And if for some reason you have endeavored or you believe that your job is providing you with something, but it's out of balance, I think it's time to open up to think about other things and opening up to the idea that there are other ways to make money. And it isn't about jumping ship from your job that provides security as much as it could be opening up for the universe and for God and the angels to bring in an experience that gives you an idea. Oh, I can supplement my income through this endeavor. Let's throw it out. It could be like an Etsy, Oh my goodness. I recently bought a astrology wheel that I'm going to use one of these days. Somebody makes it on Etsy. It was $40, $45. So you might think about that, using your little skills and then shopping around your network. All right, now we go on to Taurus. Taurus, you're going to love this one. The devil. Okay, this is not a bad card, everybody. If you look very closely, these characters can take the chains off of their heads, off of their necks, and they could walk away. So the devil, while it represents a sign of Capricorn, it represents a certain amount of authority, representing dominion over my actions and me feeling a little bit trapped by it. Now, let's think about the idea that Taurus naturally trines Capricorn. So what can I do, or how can Taurus allow themselves an opportunity? We've got Uranus transiting through your house. This is about observation of where there are self-imposed restrictions, where there are self-imposed concepts and ideas. And if we think about Taurus ruling the house of insecurity and being a little bit bullish on a Taurus moon, you could make a case for your lack or a case for whatever is oppressing you. And that might be exactly what needs to blow up. So let's see. Let's see. Stephen, it's funny because if I had thought about it, I would have done something a little bit larger. The houses are small. So anyway, okay. Here we go, Taurus. Where are you feeling a certain amount of being tethered to some sort of authority, something that's ruling over you that doesn't necessarily have to be? Sorry, I dropped a bunch of cards. I'll be right back. Yeah. All right. Our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Serena. How funny. The third is Caressa. And the final is Astera. As I'm looking at this spread, it's funny because it's being a Taurus moon and an Aries rising is a little bit funky because my Aries wants to be so individualistic. And then all of a sudden my Taurus and my Libra wants to commingle, wants to partner. And certain partnerships have not been fruitful for me. And recently, you guys found me on Lada's channel. You know that I was there and I left Lada's channel. And then Lada had some challenges on her channel and she reached out before the challenges started and started to re-engage the relationship. And yet at the same time, that relationship has done nothing but create frustration for me because I constantly get a green light that then turns red, that then turns green, that then turns red. And I finally have had to say to myself, I got to stop banging my head on the wall. I have to stop looking at this energy as being an authority over me. And I need to take that chain off of myself because I was disempowering myself. She didn't do anything. It's not her issue. It was my perception that she was big and she's got all this power. And I've been nothing but frustrated because I feel like, oh, wow, if I commingle and partner with her, this will create expansion for me. And the truth of the matter is, as I've individualized, I'm seeing more expansion. But this illusion of me needing somebody else, Taurus, moon, rising, sun, and stelliums, because here is frustration and anger because Taurus gets to get real with themselves and take some self-responsibility for whatever's happening. And now it's time to really own it. You don't need this person. Whoever this is in your life is unnecessary anymore, because now is a time to believe in yourself. There's the money you want. Serena says the money will come once the resistance is off. This is the resistance, thinking that somebody is bigger than you, more powerful than you, better than you, prettier than you, more influential than you. They're not. It's time to stretch yourself. Because look, as you end that chapter, as you take that chain off, man, the joy starts to come. And the joy comes because what you realize is you're on a constant journey of reaching for the stars. And when you do that, you're stretching in a way that's trusting your intuition. And this is also about going in a new direction. And that new direction is much more authentic to where you want to be. So let me offer this. Taurus by nature rules the throat, rules the voice. It rules my skills. If we look at this illumination happening in Taurus, Scorpio, which is the opposing sign of Taurus, where have I been giving up my power to somebody else? And it doesn't mean they've been taking that power from you. It feels very much like it's inadvertently a perception that you have had. And now it's time to allow yourself to recognize where you have been fixed in your energy and giving up your power and now claiming it. And the claiming comes from taking a risk of closing one chapter, the illumination of a total full moon, and claiming your joy. All of this for me, when I say these things, starts here and here. And as I align my head and my heart through my meditations and my declarations to the universe, then I'm inspired into action. And that way I'm not alone when I'm taking my action. I have a team behind me that's helping support a bigger vision of me. All right, this is very exciting. Now, you also have Uranus transiting through Taurus, liberating you from all of this. And if you feel overwhelmed, Taurus, do something Venusian. Have a lovely meal, enjoy some art, some good music, and let spirit then inspire you. Sometimes you just got to dance it out, man. Just got to listen to some music. All right, on to our final sign. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, now look what you got, the Seven of Swords. If this isn't the epitome of Aries energy, going on your own. I feel like I just got a big double confirmation, because this going on your own, sometimes it's looked at as a little bit arrogant, but really it's sort of having to take all of my swords. I might have to leave a few things behind, but I've got to start to venture out, be a pioneer so that I can feel the satisfaction of my own creation. And I want to offer this too, because nobody, from my perception and what spirit shows me, nothing is selfish. All of this endeavoring my own happiness and endeavoring my own creativity and my own vision of what I want in my life, it is a incredible service to mankind. Because as we start to rewrite this earthly plane to play to this higher vibration, we are inviting others to join us. And that naturally stops prejudice. It naturally stops judgment, because as we see ourselves go up and down the roller coaster of the human ride of our own happiness, then we give other people a break. Happy people give other people a break. Angry people, disgruntled people are judgy and finger pointing, and that's a law of attraction. So when we're aware of it, we don't need to judge it. We just get to move past it. So Aries, our first angel is compassion, Grace and Antoinette. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Isaiah. And the final is Astera. Yes, Lucy Rose, they are. And happy people, it isn't something that's bestowed upon them. It feels almost as if happy people are trained to be less judgy of themselves, to be more forgiving of their mistakes, and thereby their law of attraction brings in people like that. And they're there to represent. It's a very noble and spiritual journey. Aries, Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the dog. Archangel Michael is being joined by the restriction card. Isaiah is being joined by the king. And Astera is being joined by the focus card. Okay, so this is what I want to say. I don't think that the dog represents loyalty or sincerity at this moment as much as I think it does. I mean, it does, but this is a compassion for yourself as you follow what you love, and maybe to the point where people don't quite understand why you've done that. You know, this is a card that other people can consider a little bit selfish. And this is a card of compassion as you move forward for your own happiness. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle is the restriction card and Archangel Michael. And I want to offer it here because I think that Archangel Michael is telling Aries that you have not been, maybe, I don't want to say you haven't been courageous, but I want to offer it this way because Aries is the warrior. Aries is the one that's a little aggressive. Aries is the one that can be a little bit blatant and blunt and pushy. So this is where I feel like the courage comes from seeing that part of yourself and not villainizing it, but rather now starting to be aware of how I land on others when I communicate. Because Isaiah in the angel's advice is asking for new beginnings, and here's the king. And I think this is about holding court in the sense of there's a strong sense of leadership when it comes to Aries, and how are you leading? And to have compassion for yourself as you endeavor your own way, maybe even away from people that you had initially thought would create bounty. And rather than being angry and the warrior, you're leaving with compassion. And in leaving with compassion in your own mind opens opportunities maybe down the line rather than cutting them off. Because Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and only focus on that now. I feel as if, you know, you've got Jupiter. Aries has Jupiter. It's going to be in Aries until November. Expansion, expansion, expansion. Expansion in all sorts of ways. And I think the expansion comes from now not being such a like blowing through the territory, but actually meandering through it and allowing yourself the privilege of seeing yourself as a leader and demonstrating courage, not in a way that villainizes people who are weak, and I don't mean weak, but people who are more unsure of being courageous, unsure of new endeavors. Because when I look at this, I feel as if this is a moment for Aries to really rise, to take all the energies that your 12th house, having Neptune, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars transiting your 12th house of Pisces, has given you an opportunity to really reflect on your next actions. And as we walk through this retrograde and this eclipse, it will illuminate a path that I think Jupiter will support over these next few months. So having compassion for yourself as you endeavor what you love, you don't villainize others, you look at the opportunity to where have I lacked courage? Because if I've been lacking courage, now is a time that's just and fair for me to display that courage and to focus in on what I want rather than what has been. All right. It's a big one. These are getting long when I add the tarot card, but you know, it is what it is. Again, I want to encourage you all to check out the Mercury and the lunar eclipse video. There's more detail. I go into the houses there, so that'll be there. I hope y'all enjoy your Mother's Day. For those of you that are furry mommies and daddies, I hope you enjoy the day as well. For those of you around the world that don't have a Mother's Day, have an enjoyable day. If it's Monday or Tuesday, I'll be back next week with more fun stuff. I'm excited. The channel is growing, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you for your support. I love you all so much. Peace out till next week.